Hi, fellow Texans. Alex Dominguez here, representative of District 37. Joining me today, we have Jeannie Hinojosa, representing the Austin area, Julie Johnson from the Dallas area. Thank you all so much for tuning in and asking the critical questions of what we're doing up here in D.C. Gina?
Right now, we're on our way to the Capitol for a meeting with a member of Congress, and we're kind of winding down the week with a long week of conferences with voting rights partners from across the country. Today we met with legislators from other states that are working to fight these anti-voter bills across the country. And earlier this week, we also met with members of Congress who are committed to passing some type of federal voter rights legislation, and so we're collaborating with them. Julie?
Yeah, and we're really meeting with a lot of folks, but we want to give a little moment to shout out the 17,000 donors who responded to Beto O'Rourke's call for support for what we're doing. And we are so thrilled that collectively with you and through Beto's leadership, y'all have donated $600,000 to help support us up here. It's no small feat with over 55 legislators and staff, and obviously it's an expensive effort, and we can't thank you enough for helping make it possible to be on this national platform and this national stage to tell the world what Republican legislators are trying to do across the country, with Texas trying to lead the way in suppressing the vote, making it hard to clip at the margins, make it harder for students, make it harder for elderly, make it harder for people with disabilities, make it harder for busy moms with minivans full of kids, and just down the line, just to slim those margins of vote so they can try to stay in power. So we thank you so much for standing with us shoulder to shoulder and helping us be here.
Okay, for our viewers, we're in the middle of a voting rights conference at the hotel. Do we want to talk a little bit about some of the meetings that you've had and the progress that's come out of that and building consensus around voting rights protections across the country?
Sure thing. I think part of what we found out during this entire week of this symposium is that there are state legislators throughout the entire country who feel their own voices stifled by rules being used by their Republican counterparts. We find that other states are fighting very hard, and some fighting the similar struggles that we have here. Not only that, but we have heard from grassroots organizations who have dedicated their mission to try to preserve the voting freedoms that we have in this country. As you know, pretty much every election in this country is won by a slim margin. So tens of thousands of voters frustrated in any one state can really drastically affect the national picture. So we're grateful for this chance to sit down with our counterparts in other states and get ideas of how other states are producing good voter integrity legislation that's fair to all participants and encourage people to come and vote.
One of the things that's been important about our presence here is actually explaining what kinds of provisions are in the bills that we're fighting in Texas that Republicans are putting forward to make it harder for people to vote. And one of the issues that really seems to resonate with people we talk to here in Washington is how Republicans want to empower these partisan poll watchers who have no training and actually give them more power than even our election workers, who are often retired teachers, trusted members of our community who keep just our elections running, who are patriots for their work. And here we have legislation that would allow partisan poll watchers, like, for instance, the Proud Boys could be some of these partisan and are recruited to be some of these partisan poll watchers who get one free felony at a polling place. They have unfettered, restricted access in a polling place. They are allowed one free felony before being allowed to be removed from a polling place. And we have now additional criminal penalties for the first time on election workers who try to preserve the sanctity of the vote and keep them in check. So that is astounding to people we talk to, and most of us just want to vote, not have people in our business, especially not partisan poll watchers watching us exercise the sacred right and responsibility to have our voices heard in our democracy.
Okay, final question for you, Julie. What can people in Texas do to sustain the momentum on the fight for our right to vote?
Yes, I was just going to say, so many of you have, what can I do to help? How can I participate? Well, we need you to help elevate the message. I was speaking with somebody the other day who didn't even know we were in Washington. So obviously, we need to do a better job of educating those around us and in our sphere of communication influence. So tell everybody what's going on. Talk to them about what's happening in Texas. Elevate all of our voices on social media. We need you to be social media warriors and get into the conversation. It seems to us that oftentimes the Trumpians like to go and dominate the message with falseness and false statements about what the bill does and what they're trying to achieve. We need you to get in there and help us join the fight so that people can know what we're doing.
All right, thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Bye.